step, Tzu Chi volunteers organized large-scale distributions in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Master Cheng Yen visits Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital to encourage medical staff to keep up their good work. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Liao. Thank you for joining us. On September 14th and 15th, the Tzu Chi Foundation carried out large-scale rice distributions for 1,200 residents of Cité Soleil and La Céline districts in Port-au-Prince. As Haiti's presidential election is set to take place next month, tension and political instability have intensified in the region. Although volunteers were extremely concerned about everyone's safety and security, thankfully the rice distributions were executed in a peaceful and orderly manner.
A large crowd gathers at this local school in Cité Soleil of Port-au-Prince. This is where the Tzu Chi Foundation will be carrying out its rice distribution.
Haiti's presidential and local elections are set to take place on October 25th, so there has been a lot of political tension here.
Tensions ahead of the presidential elections have intensified the political instability of the region. As 2 police officers were shot and killed in the area just the day before, volunteers were concerned whether or not they will be able to carry out the rice distribution without a police presence. Carrying bags of rice on their heads, residents go home with appreciation and gratitude in their hearts. Volunteers were thankful that the event was carried out in a peaceful and orderly manner.
This rice will last me at least a few months. I am truly grateful.
In the afternoon, volunteers continued their rice distribution at a local school in La Céline district, where 11 police officers were on scene to help maintain order.
I am very happy my family finally has rice to eat. Thank you, Tzu Chi.
They hope a master can continue to help them in the situation because they are very, very poor.
As hunger and poverty often go hand in hand, volunteers hope that the 2,400 bags of rice supplied by the Tzu Chi Foundation may bring a ray of hope for the impoverished residents of Port-au-Prince and help them escape the vicious cycle of poverty.
In the wake of the 2011 floods in Ipswich, Australia, local Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized to conduct a disaster assessment to better understand residents' needs. Upon learning that the city has a large low-income population, Tzu Chi volunteers decided to hold food distributions 4 times a year. However, before we joined the volunteers on their most recent food distribution in Ipswich, we traveled to Paraguay, where Tzu Chi volunteers delivered much-needed aid to residents affected by heavy rain and hail in Presidente Franco. Due to heavy rain and hail, many homes were left with holes in their roofs. Today, Tzu Chi volunteers in Ciudad de Este, Paraguay, are here at Presidente Franco to conduct a disaster assessment. Although the local government has already promised to hand out zinc sheets, in the meantime, residents can only rely on canvas sheets to keep out the rain. On the volunteers' second visit, they hand out blankets, mattresses, canvases, and foods affected families. To further their assistance, Tzu Chi volunteers once again returned with daily necessities.
I'm truly thankful to the Tzu Chi volunteers for coming here to help us. Not everyone cares about us, but the volunteers really do. They care about our situation and needs.
Meanwhile, in Ipswich, Australia, Tzu Chi volunteers are holding a food distribution in the city for the 9th time. Prior to the event, several recipients arrived to help set up the venue. In the wake of the serious flooding in 2011, Tzu Chi volunteers in Australia mobilized to conduct a disaster assessment in Ipswich. During their survey, they discovered that many residents were living close to the poverty line. To help, the Tzu Chi volunteers decided to organize quarterly food distributions. This is care recipient Courtney Marsh, who restitched the reusable bag given by the volunteers for this occasion. Among those helping out is police officer Jose Alonso, who is here with his family to reciprocate Tzu Chi's kindness.
During the 2011 and 2013 floods, you helped us, so it's nice to give back, so that's what we're doing.
Upon learning of the hardships Syrian refugees are living in, despite themselves not being financially well off, many gladly donated their spare change to pay the love forward. In Thailand, 1 month after an explosion at the Irawan Shrine in central Bangkok, Tzu Chi volunteers continue to care for victims and their families. Among the victims is Mr. Zhang from Taiwan, who suffered from burns and comminuted fracture, which means he needs to be hospitalized for 3 to 4 months. Fortunately, with the help of different organizations, including Tzu Chi, Mr. Zhang and his wife have stayed optimistic on the path to recovery.
1 month after the explosion at the Erawan Shrine in central Bangkok, calmness seemed to have returned to the city. As the shrine recently reopened to the public, more police have been dispatched.
I think we need to be grateful at all times, really.
Mrs. Zhang recently returned to offer her thanks at the shrine.
I think the Irawan Shrine saved us so we can do more good deeds and help more people in need.
Mr. Zhang suffered from burns and a comminuted fracture in his right leg. After 5 surgeries, he still needs to be hospitalized for 3 to 4 months.
谢谢师姐，我们一直关心我们。应该的，因为你们在这边人生地不熟，对啊，话不通。不能做什么，可是最起码讲讲话是 OK 的。对啊，因为不认识的人我们都帮忙，何况你们就是我们的乡亲。
As help pours in from Foguangshan Monastery, the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Thailand, local translators, and Tzu Chi volunteers, the Zhangs are rebuilding their lives with courage.
Oriental languages and literature majors from Tzu Chi University in Taiwan had just concluded their internship at the Chiang Mai Tzu Chi School and immediately went on home visitations in Bangkok. Though they don't speak Thai, their sincere love has crossed the language barrier and warmed the hearts of those they visited. Let's take a look.
This 80-year-old grandpa, originally from China, is glad to hear Mandarin once again. As these young college students wipe the seniors down, tears are shed on both sides.
As he is the same age as my grandpa who just passed away this year, when I was wiping him down, I was reminded of doing the same for my grandpa when he was still alive.
These Oriental languages and literature majors from Tzu Chi University have just concluded their internship at the Chiang Mai Tzu Chi School and are in Bangkok to care for those in need. The students broke into pairs to visit 14 families. While some offered a haircut, others delivered supply packs. Seeing the sufferings of others, they have learned to be grateful.
Knowing that the donation comes from everywhere, they try to reciprocate too.
Through giving, the students have learned a valuable lesson and ended their trip to Thailand on a perfect note.
An annual festival featuring different aspects of Taiwanese culture, Taiwan Fest, has taken place once again in Vancouver, Canada, under the theme The Torch of Hope. While authentic food and music were on display, Tzu Chi volunteers also set up a booth offering free TCM treatment, with many festival attendees seizing the occasion to learn some simple exercises from the TCM practitioners on site.
The annual festival, Taiwan Fest, has hit the streets of Vancouver again. Tzu Chi volunteers work with one heart and one mind to decorate their booth before the festival started. Setting up a temporary clinic in one of the tents, Tzu Chi volunteers provided free TCM care for interested fairgoers.
再动一动，再动一下你的那个肩膀，然后把你的sleep。
I found it very good in that it helped me understand my problem to deal with my arthritis on both knees. And he suggested certain little exercises that I can do And I find the traditional Chinese medicine is it's involved in medicine, but it also has a lot to do with yourself, on your spirit, your feelings, and your emotions.
I think for everybody is important was to educate the people about the Chinese medicine, and they were helping them actually how to protect themselves and they have their health.
The master asked us to go into communities to care for people's health. I think she wants us to help prevent disease rather than treating illness afterwards.
After attending several free clinics, I think the Tzu Chi family is wonderful. They serve everywhere, not just Canada. I've seen many reports. Each time I take part in a Tzu Chi event, I feel like my heart is being purified again.
Bend our neck all day long.
TCM practitioners also demonstrated some exercises that the public can do at home. Sharing a health regimen with festival attendees, the volunteers have once again brought care and joy to the public.
Public safety is the topic of our series today on dangers that threaten Taiwan. Before, the government has paid little attention to the issue and basically let businesses trot up their own safety protocols. But everything changed on June 27th of this year when a color party held at Formosa Fun Coastal Water Park in Bali went terribly wrong.
Disasters can happen if public safety is not held to the highest standards. The Formosa Fun Coast Water Park was ordered to shut down due to the incident, but other amusement parks in Taiwan still enjoy good business.
It's very exciting. It's like free falling.
However, not everyone can take so much excitement.
The ride was too intense, so I am short of breath.
When they come in and feel like they have trouble breathing, I will give them some oxygen.
Learning from what happened, some parks have now prepared their own ambulances.
An ambulance is always on standby here at Mala Bay. If any of visitors is injured, they can be transported to a hospital immediately.
No matter what kind of party it is, one can never be too careful.
This section of the park is equipped with 950 inspected fire extinguishers. Whenever a disaster occurs, they can be put to use immediately.
Ever since the tragedy of Formosa Fun Coast, all amusement parks in the country have stepped up their fire drills, while the government has banned all color parties. Also, all special events at the parks must now first obtain government approval before they can be held.
The Tourism Bureau wants us to submit special event proposals at least 30 days ahead.
Public safety must come first before having a good time, because the slightest mishap can lead to disastrous consequences.
A couple of times each year, Master Cheng Yen travels around Taiwan to visit volunteers in various Tzu Chi locations across the island. Recently, the Master visited the Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital, where doctors took the opportunity to share recent medical breakthroughs, while nurses spoke about how it is necessary to show compassion and wisdom when caring for patients. The Master also encouraged all staff at Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital to continue their good work in treating both the body and mind of patients.
On Master Cheng Yen's most recent visit to the Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital, medical staff seized the opportunity to report on some recent medical breakthroughs. An 80-year-old patient was transferred to Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital after being diagnosed with lung cancer at a local hospital. However, after conducting a series of examinations, doctors discovered that the growth in the senior's lungs was not a tumor, but in fact pieces of food lodged in his lungs.
We took time to conduct a few tests and had the food pieces removed. If we're thorough enough with our diagnosis, it will greatly affect the outcome for patients.
Although it is every doctor's duty to protect the life of patients, however, it is just as important for them to maintain their own health and well-being. Dr. Liu Jianming deeply relates to this as he was diagnosed with necrotizing fasciitis, a rare but highly fatal infection of the deeper layers of the skin and tissue. Following 8 surgical debridements, doctors managed to save his life.
We have to maintain our own health and keep a balanced lifestyle. We should set time aside for our families and exercise regularly.
很多人啊，不敢接，不要接，或者是已经到了生命的不看好的要放弃了，我们都把它一一的拉拔回来，而且呢，让他的生命呢，生活的品质是这么好。
As Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital staff continue to provide quality care for their patients, Master Cheng Yen also reminds them to show compassion and wisdom when caring for patients and to treat them as their own family. Staff of the hospital's nursing home also shared how patients who experienced anxiety in the beginning were able to face their illness with courage and optimism, thanks to the love and attentive care of the nurses.
在护理之家真的帮了我好多好多，让我可以放心。
One relative expressed her gratitude to the staff for their unyielding care and attention. Since its establishment over a year ago, the care center has continued to deliver quality care to all patients.
如一个家一样的温馨，如晚辈在照顾长辈的那样的贴心，我听的是真的很放心。
Master Cheng Yen hopes that medical staff can use their skills and expertise not only to treat illness, but to heal hearts as well.
After months of intensive care at the Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital in Taiwan, Bali water park explosion survivor Ms. Zhang, whose right leg was amputated due to a severe infection, is now making a good recovery. Now that her condition has stabilized, Zhang will be transferred to a hospital near home. But first, we join medical staff and Tzu Chi volunteers as they held a farewell party on behalf of another survivor, Ms. Zhang. At Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital, medical staff and Tzu Chi volunteers are holding a farewell party for Bali water park explosion survivor Ms. Zhong. When Zhong was first transferred to the hospital, she had to undergo dialysis and rely on breathing tubes to survive. Thankfully, under the skillful hands of her doctors, Zhong has slowly recovered from her injuries.
She is now in stable condition. Before, we thought that she would have to go through dialysis for the rest of her life. Thankfully, her kidney function has slowly improved. We are very happy that she has made such a recovery.
The medical staff here are very skillful. I was in critical condition twice, but they didn't give up on me. Look at me, I am still alive. From now on, I will never take my life for granted.
Due to severe infection on Ms. Zhang's lower right leg, medical personnel had to amputate it to save her life. Now with Zhang in stable condition, she'll be transferred to a hospital closer to home.
The medical personnel went through countless meetings to discuss ways to save my leg. Although they had to amputate the bottom half of my leg, I'm still grateful that they saved my knee.
Thanks to the selfless dedication of medical personnel like these, many Bali water park explosion survivors can finally go home. In the days and weeks to come, these survivors promise to work on their rehabilitation until they can live a normal life once more. In Taiwan's Hualien, local Tzu Chi volunteers recently held a stem cell donor registration drive at Shui Yuan community. By sharing personal stories and passing on information regarding stem cell transplants, Tzu Chi volunteers hope to encourage more people to sign up as possible donors. Inside a church in Shui Yuan community in Hualien County, children have gathered to pray to Jesus. Tzu Chi volunteers next show a video clip to help members of the public gain a better understanding of stem cell transplants.
We realized that people don't know much about stem cell transplants when we held stem cell donor registration drives at other villages. We want to encourage everyone to come listen, so we didn't set an age restriction.
One can increase a patient's chance of finding a match by registering with Tzu Chi Stem Cell Center.
Signing up as a possible donor is a great deal. We can save a life and maybe ourselves in the future if needed.
A stem cell transplant not only can save the life of someone battling blood disease, but also his or her family, all without harming the donor.
I want to contribute my share to help the needy. If I'm lucky enough, I'll definitely do what I can to help.
Through holding such an event, Tzu Chi volunteers hope to inspire even more to become possible donors that can save a life in the near future. In Malaysia's Malacca, Tzu Chi care recipient Fan Kun Xiang suffers from diabetes and due to complications had to undergo a leg amputation a year ago. In the same year, he also found that he'd had kidney disease and needed dialysis. Facing intense financial pressure, Fan felt as if there was no more hope in his life. Thankfully, Tzu Chi volunteers were there to offer a solution.
My life was white blank. There's still more I want to do, but I can't. The most important is to stand up once more.
Due to complications with his diabetes, a year ago, Fan Kun Xiang's leg was amputated. Later, he found out he had kidney problems and lost his job.
He didn't know what to do or what his future would be like. He wanted to return to work, but he didn't know how to accomplish that on his own.
Knowing Fan needed assistance, volunteers not only subsidized his dialysis treatments, but also found him a place at the Sokso Rehabilitation Center where he could work on walking once more. However, he initially refused to live at the center.
He was worried about the living situation. I reassured him that it would be fine and scheduled a visit for him to see himself.
I'm at ease now. Let's go look at the rooms.
Seeing how professional the center was with its physical therapist and advanced equipment, Fan immediately agreed to stay at the center to get the help he needed.
I thought Tzu Chi would only help me with my medical fees. I was going to rely on doing rehab at the hospital once a month. But this center is good. I can do exercises every day and get better much quicker.
With the help of Tzu Chi and the government's facilities, those who suffer from disabilities can look forward to returning to the workforce once more.
My goal is to walk again without crutches or wheelchair.
We meet 77-year-old Guan Xichang of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia at the end of the show. Despite of his old age, Guan still goes out to collect recyclables on a daily basis because he believes it is a good way to cultivate wisdom and dharma. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.